the Coffee and a Good Vibe behind the scenes podcast video versions of the long form audios. And welcome to this channel. So my name is Ayesha Sehra. If you guys are new here, please subscribe. Subscribe to Coffee and a Good Vibe, available on all podcasting platforms. And I just wanted to do a brief intro to this episode. So for those of you who don't know, I run a podcast called Coffee and a Good Vibe where I interview influencers, entrepreneurs, founders, creatives, just thought leaders of our time who are really just like living by example, creating their lives out of these crazy circumstances. And they've created some incredible brands, businesses, and just are such inspirations. And my whole premise behind starting the Coffee and a Good Vibe podcast was to showcase these people, because at the end of the day, people are people, and there's nothing that differentiates them from you except for the fact that they went out there and they accomplished the goal. So my whole premise behind doing these interviews and this content in general is to spark creativity, inspiration, and help you guys to just really live your best life and uncover like the principles, the mindset tools, all the tactics and things you guys need to live your best life, create your dream abundant reality, and make that your life. You know, I think that abundance is everyone's birthright, so we can all achieve anything, and that's exactly what this podcast to me is. So much more than just a podcast. It's a community, it's a movement. So definitely connect with me on Instagram, follow the podcast it's available on all podcasting platforms, so I'll have everything linked below. But through doing these solo episodes and the episode we're about to dive into, I've been just loving doing the solo episodes because I feel like I'm just talking to you guys. And on Instagram, on these platforms where we can truly connect, I love to hear from you guys. And through that, I've been just so inspired to just get behind the mic and share things, because we're all in this together. It's all about creating our dream life, being our best self, living the best life that we can truly achieve, because we only have one life. We have to make it our most fulfilling life. So I hope you guys resonate with this content. It would mean the world to me if you guys like the video, subscribe, share it with a friend. It definitely helps this message and this movement reach more people, which at the end of the day is my pure intent. And if it serves, then let me know. I would love to hear from you guys. And let's dive into today's solo episode with myself. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Coffee and a Good Vibe. So today I'm coming at you guys with another solo episode. Just me and you, two friends, having a good vibe and just kicking it behind the mic, because I've been feeling so called to just do more of these, and it's all thanks to you guys through connecting with you guys individually in the DMs, which guys, go connect with me on Instagram. I'll have everything linked below in the show notes, but it's one of my favorite things to do. I literally voice note all of you guys, and it's such a great way because I get to hear about you. Like, what are you doing? What's going on in your life? What level are you at? What's your goals you want to accomplish? Like, what is going on? I feel like we have these platforms, and I know social media gets a bad rap, but it's social media. We should get social, and we should connect and use these platforms to uplift one another, because I truly believe in that. I think that we grow up in this digital age where our phones are, we like it or not, they're attached to our hip. Our screen time is through the roof. But you know what? I'm always like, what's the blessing on the other side? Well, the blessing on the other side is that I can connect with other humans. And especially right now when everything's digital, man, you can go deep and get to make friends from all over the world and do it in such a matter of like, it's instant. You know, you can just send a message quickly. You have this device in your hand and you can reach thousands, hundreds of thousands, anyone you want in the world. And I think that's such a crazy thing. It's like, wow, when we switch the mindset on things, it's like, well, we can look at things negative, or we can look at the other side of it, and it's just like, life is exactly what we make it out to be. We can look at our situation as a negative, or we can always flip it on its head and view the positives with it. But today I just really wanted to get behind this mic and talk to you guys, because I've been speaking with so many of you, and one of the things that I wanted to come on here and talk about is abundance, and that you can have it all. Abundance is our birthright. I always say that, and I truly believe that we cannot block our blessings in life, and whatever we want to achieve in life, we can have it all. The only person that ever gets in the way is ourselves, essentially. Sometimes we have these other things come up, like our fears or our disbeliefs or other people's beliefs kind of get imprinted on us constantly, so we think we adopt other people's narratives as our own. But nah, screw that. We can create any life we want. There's no limit to our success. There is no such thing as no, there's just other ways sometimes to the destination. There's no such thing as failure, and failure isn't even a bad thing. There is only abundance and limitless opportunity when we go after what we truly want in this life. I truly believe that our belief is number one. So we have to get there in our mindset and truly believe it to the core of us. And then the rest can follow suit, right? I think that when we have that clarity on what we want to create, the energy is nothing but just like limitless abundance of energy. I find it so crazy because I know this podcast is called Coffee and a Good Vibe, but I love coffee, I love the way it tastes, but I don't even need it to just have so much energy for just the daily things that I'm trying to create and trying to accomplish in my business, in my brand, in my life. And it's so crazy how like when we pull from that state of us, there's nothing but abundance in all areas, right? With the people in our life, if we don't want to be around the negative people that we may currently be around, do not tolerate it. Make the decision today to say no to habits that don't serve us. Say no to the people in our lives that maybe aren't being the most uplifting people to be around. I'm like so sensitive to energy ever since I started really taking audits in all areas of my life of like where I'm investing my time, yes, in the action items I do, but also in the people I have conversations with and the people I would go for coffee with, grab a lunch with. I am so like maybe too much to the point where like I'm so like intricate with where I place my time, because it's not just you grabbing lunch with a friend, it's also about like if that person is at energetic alignment, because they always say your vibe attracts your tribe, and you don't ever want to be with people who lower your vibration. You always want to be with people who uplift your vibe and are high vibes and positive energy, because that's contagious. And honestly, it makes other people want to vibrate high too when you're around two people who have that high frequency. So that is just one of the things that there's a couple notes here I want to talk about that can implement that mindset that you can have it all. Because a lot of the conversations I'm having with you guys have these huge visions and have these big goals, and you guys are getting so uplifted and hyped up when you hear really like things that are speaking towards that existence of what you want to achieve. And a lot of you guys have said that you like the books that I've been sharing and different things like that, and there's all these tools out there. But it's up to us if we choose to listen to it, invest our time into listening to things like this, invest our time into being around people who are only uplifting and supportive, and saying no to the things that honestly do not serve us. And that is like really what I want to talk about too in this episode, is that we can sometimes block our own blessings by getting in our way with just not being consumed with the most best things for us. It even goes down to like our schedule. I noticed this with myself for sure before, that like say I have this goal and it's something that means a lot to me, but then on my list of action items for the day, it's kind of like closer to the end. And for me, like when you start to really like get in your groove of how you make your schedule and just get so self-aware, like we've talked about in previous episodes, like self-awareness is so key. When you get self-aware of like the type of people you want to tolerate in your life, and you kind of do those audits in all areas, you'll even learn like what times of the day you operate best to get an action item done, to have deep work and focus, what times of the day you need to meditate, what times of the day you need to work out for a spark of energy. Personally for myself, right when I wake up, I need to work out. Otherwise, I'm kind of like antsy in my chair all day and I can't focus when I get into work, and I just like wake up in a more anxious state until I work out. But I have lots of friends who need to work out in the middle of the day because they'll like wake up, their focus is so good, they hit work, they get so many things done, and then they go take a break, they mentally disconnect and they train and they work out, and then they're back for like the second half of the day, like recharge. And that works for some people. Personally for me, I don't have good workouts in the afternoon, but it's like when we understand ourselves, we can really like hack our system. And I always like to say, like, what works for one person may not work for you, and it doesn't have to work for you. Like I'm so against this like narrative online where there's these like experts in different industries and they're like, this is my way, and they're preaching how they like to wake up and meditate for 2 hours and write for 6 hours, and I'm just exaggerating, but work out for this many hours, do this type of workout, and sometimes you're just like, damn, well, that's what I have to do to get to that outcome, like, I guess, and then you don't end up wanting to do it because it's not really sustainable, or just like, it doesn't work for you, and then you feel like, okay, now you can't hit that goal, and that's such BS. And that's why I'm really happy to hear your feedback, because I'm trying to, like, this content, I just want it to be relatable and serve you guys and be super straight up. Like, what works for one person does not have to work for the next. But if we can take bits and pieces from like even the guests that I interview, or just different people who you look up to, different pieces, and adopt it to what fits your life and what serves you, man, you can make your dream schedule, your dream like way that you operate through this life to literally create any reality you want, with any goals, any outcomes, and any people. This goes from like not only business and like all that element of financial goals, and just like the things that we kind of equate success to be, like, oh, I want to live in this environment, this home, this income goal, this job. I'm talking about like even like love and relationships. Like when we are operating at the frequency and the vibe of how we want to live our life and the people that we want to offer, like have in our life, the universe shows up for us with those amazing relationships too, on just even the personal note, the friendships, the romantic relationships, and every other area of your life follows suit. It's so crazy how this stuff works, but it's true. Like, it all starts from ourselves, our choice. If we don't like something in our life, it's up to us to make that change, to be like, you know what, I deserve more than this. I do not like this current circumstance, and I'm gonna make a change. And I know like change sometimes it's not instant, right? Like we want to grow. For example, with me in this podcast, like it's one of my big goals for 2021 to make Coffee and a Good Vibe a top 100 podcast. And I've been affirmating it daily and getting my beliefs up, because in the beginning, when I said it, I almost like second guessed myself. Like I felt like, who am I to say that? Like my other beliefs in my head were like, who are you to say that? And then it took practice and repetition to affirmate this goal out loud, to the point where like I say it now and I believe it to the core of me. And if anyone ever, like when I say my goals out loud and someone in their head might be like, good luck, like, you know who's on the top 100 list? Joe Rogan. And my response is now, awesome, well, I will be up there too. So it's having that internal belief. It comes back to that. But with these goals, we have to just get so crystal clear and show up for the universe that we are ready to embody and attract those things in. So for example, like with this goal of making the podcast a top podcast, I need to prioritize it like it's a full-time job. You can't just, it's not like overnight, okay, it's gonna come top 100. No, I'm so well aware that it's gonna take hard work. It's gonna take not just recording episodes once a week, but 3 times a week, 4 times a week. It's gonna take me on the weekends, if I don't have time during the week with my work, to edit episodes, get things edited for Instagram, make Instagram reels, get on other platforms to scale it, like TikTok and YouTube and all these other things, to just get this goal to where I want to be. So it's almost like the belief system, but then also showing up and doing the work to get us there. So we can reverse engineer every goal we have. When I was 18, I actually invested in my first mentor. So I know that was crazy for me at 18. And he made me, the first thing he made me do was, he was like, Ayesha, draft out your 10-year vision plan. I was like, 10 years? Are you kidding me? I don't even know. Like, I like had an idea. I was like, I can't think about 10 years. I'm thinking about like the next 2-3 years. And I was just like, how will I even know? And the biggest thing that he brought home with that is, when you know like the what you want, then you can kind of reverse engineer it and just take the next step. And guys, it's just gonna roll from there. If you just know like, okay, today I'm gonna do this and this is gonna move me towards the goal, these small wins every single day add up to such big wins, and before we know it, we're at that goal. So that's like such a key thing that I want you guys to to think about, like, no goal is out of reach. Write it down, affirmate it, believe in it, and then just start with like step one, you know? Like sometimes we have these big goals with a fitness goal. It can honestly just start with doing one task, and then you get better each day. You evolve so much. It's like maybe you want to run 10 miles. Well, you're not going to start running 10 miles. You're going to build up to it. So it's the same thing with any area of our lives. But the biggest thing on that takeaway point is to prioritize purpose. So in the mornings when I journal, I get all these like downloads, and that's like where that saying came from. I just got it in a download, and it was like prioritize purpose. And it's so true. We need to get out of our own way and not fear any competition. I feel like I've been having this conversation a lot lately, but sometimes we get caught up in like looking at someone else in our space. It's so good to be inspired by others and see like what others are creating, because it shows you like, wow, there's such a need for that and there's room for you. But to view it in that mindset and that lens that like, wow, I really love what she's doing and I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna create my own. Clearly the fact that she has such a demand in a large audience, it shows me that there's a demand for what I want to create in the world. And no one is you guys, like, and that's your power. That's it. Like, I know that statement can be cheesy, but it's so true. Like, no one's gonna have your energy, the way you word things, the way you say things, and the way you relate to someone other than you. No one has your experiences and your makeup. So I think viewing other people in the space, because it's inevitable, we're in a world where we can see what everyone's doing and everyone shows like such amazing scenes of their life. We can look at that, but then flipping the lens and viewing it as inspiration and growth and being like, okay, you know what, I see that there's such a need, and celebrating their success and their wins, because that'll make you a magnet energetically for what you're looking to attract. And then you just don't let anyone like make you feel less than and make that fear of not being good enough hold you back. And that's like one of the biggest conversations I've been having, is a lot of people see like a space that they want to enter into is saturated, or just something that they want to do, and they think that, who am I to do this? Well, who are you not to do something, right? Flip that script. Who are you not to achieve X thing? Whenever those words come up, like limiting beliefs, like who am I to do something, flip it around, because abundance is our birthright, and you guys can have it all, but it all starts with our belief. Once we kind of hammer in that belief, it comes into really getting self-aware on knowing, okay, what are the next things, or what is the one next thing that I can do to move me closer to that? Because those small wins every day equate to such big wins in our lives, and getting out of our own way in that process. So for example, with me with the podcast, I'm like, Ayesha, like I talk to myself, Ayesha, why are you getting to the podcast when you have to edit, like go through content, choose sound bites, create like little sound bites for Instagram? Don't do that at the end of your day. Like, do that when you are most alert. If you want this to be a full-time job and get it to a top 100 show and have X amount of brand partnerships with the show and X amount of this downloads, then you need to treat it and prioritize what you want it to become. And when we show up for ourselves, man, the outcomes, the results we're hitting, we become in alignment to them, and we attract it in, and it just makes us a magnet for abundance and opportunity and people and just everything we're looking to create. So getting super self-aware on how we need to show up and what we need to do, and just starting from there, because like I said, like it'll add up, and trust me girl, the next things will come. When you say your goal is to maybe build your brand online to like really scale your online business or any business, then when you start doing the reps and the work of doing the things of showing up on your story, showing up on online, connecting with people online, sharing your passion, what your why is, and really providing value to an audience, you're gonna build a demand. Like, it's just inevitable. When we do the work and we do it from the strong place of certainty and our why and our purpose, the results follow. The timeline, we have to be relentless. And I honestly say, like, the universe sometimes will test us. When I moved out to LA, oh man, maybe social media makes it look like it was just like a seamless journey, but there was so much like of hard work and tears that went into building a business out here from nothing. Like moving from Toronto, Canada, I had clients in Canada, moving to LA where I didn't know a soul, and now I was trying to build a branding and PR agency and onboard clients with really no experience out here, no testimonials to show for it, because they didn't care about any of the clients I served in Canada. They want to see like people who they relate to, clients that are just like them. And anyone who's in the service-based industry knows, like, clients want to see those testimonials, and the more that's why when I talk about branding, like, niche matters. The more you serve a particular niche, they have that sense of trust too when you're showcasing just testimonials and success stories of clients who are just like them, because you're the expert teaching and they may not see the outcome in you, but they might see it in a client that you helped, and then that'll really improve their trust to work with you or invest in you, and you can get, and their business can just start to scale from there, obviously with more experience. But when I moved out to LA, I did not have that, and trust me, LA is not the cheapest place to live, and I was so relentless with putting in the reps every day, doing cold calling and outreach and prospecting and countless meetings, and to the point where, like, any no I got, I just kept going. And I was listening to a podcast yesterday, the guy from How I Built This podcast, he interviews different founders of huge companies like Drybar and Dyson, Airbnb, really big companies. And he always says, like, a lot of the people who are these big entrepreneurs a lot of them come from sales backgrounds, because they're so used to hearing like no's, and they just have this like relentless attitude of just like keep going. Because, you know, you get no's and then it sticks. With Dyson, for example, like, that's just stories at the top of my head. The founder of Dyson was broke until 45. They took out the mortgage on their house to like afford to create this vacuum. And people laughed in his face about the fact that he wanted to create a vacuum with no bag. And like, I know that's a random product, but it's such an amazing product. And the thing is, like, people laughed in his face until they're not laughing, because he's one of the richest men alive. And it's just insane with like these things, that like how much stronger our mindset has to be, because those things are inevitable, and we just need to be so unlocked with our purpose, our mission, our vision, and doing the work, and not getting discouraged when the work doesn't kind of give us that result that we wanted right away, because over time it will. Personally for me, I've been looking at Barstool Sports, you know, the founder of Barstool. He's been doing this for over 10 years, and he used to get laughed at for being a podcaster talking about sports when people just went to like their Sportsnet and those regular cable TV stations and radio stations. And now radio is so dead because of the fact of podcasting. And his podcast, like, he is insane, like, with how big he is. Dave Portnoy is like, I think he has like 20 million followers, and just crazy with what he's created for his life. And he's been at it for over 10 years. And another example is just like Joe Rogan, right? A comedian who, I know he's the GOAT of podcasting, but he's someone who was a comedian for years, and was, when he started a podcast, he was so new to the game, but like, look at him now. He's sold to Spotify for $100 million. And it's so crazy, because people will laugh or say these disbeliefs until they don't, because you have hit these goals, and then they'll come and maybe try to come back and be sweet. But I'm just saying, like, that's why I love doing this podcast, is because these interviews of people that I interview, and just there's so much to learn and be inspired from. But the big thing is, like, it's not an overnight success. It takes that work. Yes, you may have like that piece of content that goes viral and puts you on, or like Charlie DeMello with TikTok. But she did a lot of TikToks before, you know, building up to that point where that momentum just hits. And I truly believe we have to be at that energetic alignment. So you have to keep doing the reps until, I remember for me in LA, I was just hustling and trying to just build a business, get clients, get experience. And then in one extra month that I decided to stay, I was almost gonna go back home, because it was like 4, 5, 6 months of just hustling and every day doing so many outreach and meeting with so many people. And I remember like that last month I gave myself, I was like, you know what, I really feel it. Like, I think it was the 5th month, and I closed 4 clients that month, and it was like big high ticket clients for my brand consulting work, and it was just 4 in one shot. It happened in a span of like a week. And it just shows you that the work was always done. Like, yes, maybe like that happened in that week, but I was doing the work for so many months of no's. And that's what I want you guys to just have, this like relentless mindset in your head, whatever goal you're chasing, whether that is launching a channel or building a brand or a business in a new area. Like, do not give up, because there's that meme that someone was telling me about when I said this. It's like you're almost over that rainbow, or the peak of the hill, but a lot of people stop right before they hit that peak. And it's like, imagine if, for example, like I went home and I was like, you know what, Aisha, you gave yourself 4 months, that was your cap, like don't do another 5th. Things are gonna be the same. If I had that mindset, I would not be here today, and I wouldn't even be behind this mic doing this, because I started the podcast here and I was so inspired from just different stories that I wanted to share them. So just, that is like the craziest thing. Sometimes we need to hear these reminders, because we'll be in the actions every day, and sometimes we need to hear it. Like I've been saying to a lot of you guys, whenever you guys send me feedback on the podcast, like it means so much, because and I'm not just saying that, it truly does mean a lot, because you can be so in it. I'm like currently like with chasing this goal, I'm in the reps of like, oh, I want to hit this many downloads, and sometimes you just forget to stop and like celebrate, like, wow, this episode hit home for someone, and it meant a lot, and that's what keeps you going. So it's like never giving up, reminding yourself on your why. That episode I previously did on affirmations, I highly recommend you guys go give that one a listen, because affirmations are gonna really help to reprogram your mindset with this, just being in that high vibe place every single morning when you wake up or in the middle parts of your day, so you can know like your belief system are already there. Then you just take the action, and it's like almost like a workout, right? You're doing the reps every single day, and having that mindset in that place is going to just be such a catalyst to move you that much faster and farther. And the last thing I just want to talk about throughout like this journey of chasing a goal, which is so huge with just like the abundance and the law of attraction, is the law of abundance. And in that law of abundance, it's to celebrate other people's wins and their success. I think that with the world we live in, we compare ourselves a lot, but I think that we need to celebrate and showcase other people, because I truly believe that this energy goes around. So if you put out good energy and you support others in the pursuit of their visions and their goals, and you celebrate them, man, you're gonna magnetize yourself to just be a magnet for more good energy. And I'm not saying like, oh, because you helped X person with something that they were working with in their business, or you made an introduction and then they made an introduction to someone and then they met their business partner and then they made a $1 billion brand. I'm not saying like you expect something back in return from them, but it just works like that, where good will come back to you from doing that. Maybe it won't be directly, but it will. One of my mentors, he talked about this in a podcast where he's done numerous business introductions for people and expects nothing in return. And he's done numerous business introductions where people have created millions and millions and millions of dollars off of just like those two people meeting and that connection, or like even if they just like work with them as a client, and he never expects anything in return. And he said like a lot of times it doesn't come back from them necessarily, but he believes in like that good karma. And he says all the time, like he said it in the podcast, like he has an amazing family, an amazing wife, and beautiful children, healthy children, and it just comes back in other ways. But pertaining to this and this episode about your goals and creating the life that you want to live, this one's huge, because especially with just like, I know listening to this, you guys are on social, we can look at other people that in the industry or other friends of ours who've maybe like blown up on social, or like have moved away, like fell in love, like are living this life that maybe you really desire too for yourself. And I think just celebrating it with pure joy, pure contentment, pure love for them, like genuinely pure, it's just gonna come around for you, and it makes you feel so much better than holding like negative emotions. I've seen this so much, and I cannot tolerate it at all. Like, I cannot tolerate when people are negative to one another, because there's so much for everyone to go around. And if you are negative to someone else, or you're not happy for them truly, like if someone that you know has like say they, like a social media example, they hit 1 million subscribers on YouTube and they're your friend from a small town and they made it happen, like be so over the moon happy for them, because trust me, your turn is gonna come and your time to shine. But when we like don't celebrate others, we lower our vibe actually, and we don't make ourselves a magnet for the abundance that we want. And I truly believe in that work. And if you guys do work on like law of attraction and that whole energetic alignment, our vibe has to be up, and those things are all low vibe. And it breaks my heart when I hear stories about just other people belittling others or being jealous and not being kind, because like that energy serves no one. And the thing is, it serves the person who is not being kind. It actually serves them way worse than the person who's receiving the judgment or the hate. So I know you guys are all such positive and light and amazing people, but just celebrating other people's wins will also bring you more people in your life that embody that. I think that life is such a mirror, and I'm huge on collaboration over competition and just embodying that life. So an idea I have for you guys is to put it into practice. So one of the things that I love to do is, obviously, like with social media, there's so many ways to celebrate our friends, like sharing stuff and supporting them, just sending them a kind message. So one of the things that I love to do is just like anything I come across, honestly, especially on YouTube, because I know YouTube's algorithm really loves it when people obviously subscribe, but like and comment on the video. Whenever I watch a video, especially like when I have friends who launch a YouTube channel or anything like that, I will make sure that I watch that full video for them, because obviously I want to watch it, but I'm just saying, like, watching it front to end is so good for their analytics and just that algorithm on YouTube. But I make sure that I celebrate them and support them in that. And whenever I see someone who I truly like look up to and see them killing it, I'm like, hell yeah. Like, there's so many people in the space that I like know of in LA, we're just crushing it. And whenever I speak it out loud and share success with someone else, I'm like, look at how amazing they are. Our words that we put out, not only to ourselves, like the words of affirmations, but the words that we speak of others is such a crazy role of what we get in. And I know I'm like sounding like this crazy energy person, but it truly matters. If you speak low vibe out loud about someone to someone else, like the universe hears, and it does not make us a magnet for that abundance that we're looking to call in. So just being really super self-aware of your self-talk and of the talk that you speak out to others. Never speak negatively, only speak in love and abundance, and watch that just play a role. And not only like the people around you. So like I said earlier, I don't tolerate anyone with a low vibe, but with just like people I'm around, because of that, we only talk about positive, uplifting things. But you'll notice too, when you start to uplift your vibe in all these areas of your life to the point where you're just like celebrating other people's success, you're a magnet for opportunity, results, amazing new people to enter your tribe, friends, amazing clients in all areas. But you will find that, man, you are going to start to notice too in other people if they are not at that vibration and that energetic alignment of you. And honestly, your vibe attracts your tribe. So that's why it is so important to just speak this into existence, not only just to ourselves and the affirmations and all the mindset and the journaling work, but out loud to others, and really become self-aware. Because the second we start to be aware of our own self-talk and how we're speaking to others, man, it can change the game. And I just want every one of you guys listening to achieve your dream life, and your abundance is your birthright. And I want it all for you guys so bad. I like literally, if you guys DM me your goals and what you're looking to achieve, I want to hear it. I want to support you guys wholeheartedly in your journeys, because I truly believe that you are all going to hit it. And I want to be your cheerleader, cheering you on, because I'm so aware that sometimes we don't necessarily have that. So we need to put out that and be there for other people, so we can all just win together. I think that we're all in this life together, and it's not a solo show. It's not. I think that it's so much more fun when we all be together. So know that I am so here for you guys. Connect with me on social at Ayesha Sehra. If this message resonated with you and you know of someone else who would love and want to hear this episode, please share this podcast with them. It'll really help it reach more people, and that's my sole purpose and mission and vision behind this show. And I have so many big plans for this community because all of you guys who listen to this are such beautiful human beings, and I have a lot of visions behind this podcast. You guys just heard the one of it to make it a top show, but man, I have a lot of things that I want to do to connect you guys listening, because I'm the one who gets to be blessed with hearing your takeaways in the DMs, and I want you guys to all be friends. So trust me, I have plans coming. So if you guys know of anyone who would love to hear this episode, please share it with them. Share the podcast on Instagram if you loved it, and definitely tag me so I can shout you guys out and just connect with you guys further. But I love you guys so much. I hope you're having a beautiful day where you're at. And also, you guys are like me, you love the videos. We got the Coffee and a Good Vibe up on my YouTube channel, and everything will be linked below in the show notes. But personally, for me and some of the feedback I've got from you guys is that you'd be open to seeing videos. So we got that going now. So definitely check that out. And as always, sending you guys all the love, all the positive vibes, all the good energy, and I will see you guys in the next one. So thank you guys so much for watching on the YouTube channel. It'll mean the world to me if you guys can go subscribe to Coffee and a Good Vibe, available on all podcasting platforms. That way you guys can hear the audio if you're on the go. But as always, I so appreciate it if you guys watch the video. Subscribe, hit that bell for notifications, and I will see you guys next week for another episode.